You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, more than 600,000 people go missing in the U.S. each year. And unfortunately for one Cherokee County family, that hits close to home. We'll have the story of a missing woman and how her loved ones celebrate her.
And cold weather is here, and with temperatures about to dip into the negatives, we've got tips on how to prepare your car for this frigid weather.
And we've got alert days for tomorrow and Friday with the frigid weather, with winter storm warnings, wind chill warnings, and a lot of other stuff going on. We'll break it all down coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Missouri Governor Mike Parson orders state agencies to prepare for the winter storm and extreme cold. On Tuesday, Governor Parson signed an executive order to activate the state emergency operations plan and the Missouri National Guard for response efforts. The order is precautionary to make sure state resources and Guard members are available to help citizens and support authorities. 3 Rogersville and Springfield, Missouri men have been sentenced in federal court for their roles in a scheme to transport tens of thousands of stolen catalytic converters across state lines as part of a multi-million-dollar business. 25-year-old Evan Marshall gets nearly 6 years in federal prison without parole. 31-year-old Cody Ryder gets nearly 2.5 years in prison, and 25-year-old Joseph Davis will spend 5 years probation. You can get a full breakdown of charges with our KOAM News Now app. Well, approximately 600,000 people are declared missing every year, and there are 4,400 unidentified bodies discovered every year. Although it's terrifying to think about, someone you love could go missing. And this is the reality for one Cherokee County, Kansas family. Amber Jenkins has more on this tragic story. Now the sheriff's office is hoping technology will help them get answers.
Good morning, Tanya. Carol Sullins went missing on August 31st, 1991 from her job in Galena, Kansas. She was only 18 years old. Her family is still looking for answers. Sheriff Groves' Cherokee County Sheriff Office is hopeful answers are found as technology advances.
As time goes by, technology advances, and so we're currently working with an organization that we're hoping to get our hands on a piece of equipment that might aid in our ability to search some areas.
December 17th would have been Carol's 50th birthday. Her loved ones still gather at her last known location to remember her bright spirit.
Well, thanks, Amber. I know Sheriff Groves talked about needed technology to help them advance the case. Where are they at right now? And did he explain any more about what kind of technology this is?
So the technology he's talking about is it advanced so many, it helps so many cases, and in fact a lot of sheriff departments are still waiting for to get their hands on the technology. He told me that they're on a very long waiting list. They were expecting to have the technology to help Carol's case this winter, but unfortunately there were some delays, and so now they're expecting it coming this spring, and it will help her case and other cases in the area.
All right, well, we're looking forward to that, and I'm sure we'll follow it when it gets here. All right, thank you so much, Amber. It's important to prepare our vehicles for the coming cold. KOAM's Jalen Banks gets some expert advice on how to do just that.
Cold weather can expose the deficiencies in your vehicle. And with the weather that we may be facing in the 4 states in the coming days, it's imperative that you prep your car for it, including checking your fluids.
Just making sure your fluids are topped off, that you have the right amount of coolant in there to keep it from freezing over. Another thing a lot of people don't think about is the washer fluid. You can actually put fluid in there that's good to -40. That way when you go out, you got ice on there, you can actually use your sprayers to de-ice the windshield.
Harlan Clutter also says that checking your tires for little to no balding is important as well. In the event that you do break down on the side of the road, having an emergency car kit could be life-saving. Those items should include extra clothes, blankets, food, water, a flashlight, among other things. And it's important to remember that all components of the car impact each other.
Steering and suspension is a huge thing. So making sure that it's good, because that will also affect your braking and your handling and that kind of thing as well.
In Joplin, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
Other items you could keep in your car emergency kit are a shovel And don't forget that phone charger.
And we're going to talk about that winter storm and the potential travel impacts that it could have on us as we have alert days for tomorrow and Friday. We're looking at slippery conditions, blowing and drifting snow, and of course snow-covered cars. We got a high impact from the snow. We're looking at a high impact from the cold and the wind with this system tomorrow. So today is your action day. Make sure you're ready for this storm system. And if you're traveling for the holiday weekend, this couldn't have come at a worse time. But today is your best day to travel. You do not want to be on the roads tomorrow and Friday. Winter storm warnings in the pink through Friday at midnight. Wind chill warnings for everybody through at least Friday at 1 o'clock. Winter weather advisories, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma until tomorrow at 6. Winter weather advisories in southwest Missouri through midnight tomorrow. We're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow. And of course, with the wind blowing like it's going to, we could see some drifts that are a little bit deeper than that out there. This is what we're talking about. Winds tomorrow through Friday are going to be gusting 30, 40, 45 miles an hour, which will put our wind chills in the negative 20 to negative 30 degree range, making it dangerously cold out there. So we want to make sure that we're prepared. Let's just get straight into today. Your best travel day today, 44 for the high under mostly cloudy skies, and tonight 32 for the low. Temperatures plummet, light snow at 2 a.m. and the big show gets going about 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
All right, well, up next, winter break is here, and that means kids are out of school. We'll have how to keep them healthy and entertained while they're recuperating from learning.
And later, a grief-stricken mom honors her son by knitting blankets for cancer patients. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, if your holiday joy is fading at the thought of entertaining your kids over winter break, you're not alone. Mandy Gaither has healthy ways to keep them busy without the use of screens this holiday season.
School is out and kids are home for the holidays. What now?
It's important to kind of have a plan of what you're going to do with your kids.
Cleveland Clinic pediatrician Gina Robinson says to let them sleep in some, but try to keep them to a regular schedule so as not to throw them off when it's time for school again. She says keeping them entertained should not include loads of extra screen time, while a little more than usual is acceptable over the holidays. Robinson says it's important to set a limit.
If your kids know beforehand that there is a time for screens and there's a limit on screens, then it doesn't tend to be such a big battle in the moment.
Cooking or baking holiday cookies and treats allows for some time together. You can also go to the library to find some cookbooks or holiday books to read over the break.
I can learn about how holidays are celebrated in different countries or different traditions. So it's a really good time to do that.
Robinson says watching movies together, going to a museum, or volunteering to help someone else during the holidays are all healthy ways to keep kids busy.
Getting your kids involved and thinking about the idea of giving back and giving and how good that feels, as well as receiving.
And if weather allows, get outdoors.
Well, Robinson says having a plan for the winter break is good. There's no need to plan out every minute of each day. She says, make time for some relaxing as well. There you go. Well, you could end up counting sheep at night to fall asleep, as some specialists recommend counting on some other things for better rest. Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say the average person needs 10 to 20 minutes to fall asleep at night, and even 45 minutes isn't abnormal. But if you believe you have constant issues getting to sleep, you may want to contact your healthcare provider. Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say there are other things that may be preventing a good snooze. They recommend cutting back on foods high in sugar, saturated fats, and processed carbohydrates. You can also avoid caffeine earlier in the day. A white noise aid like a fan can also provide a drone effect to block out other background noises. I have no problem falling asleep. The end of December is well known as the most wonderful time of the year, but doctors say it also is when heart attacks are most likely to occur. In a report, a cardiologist says heart attack rates rise in the last 2 weeks of December due to stress, cold weather, and falling out of healthy habits. The rate increase is as much as 40%. As the holidays approach, doctors recommend monitoring for symptoms of heart attack, like heavy breathing or crushing pressure in the chest for men and shortness of breath or major fatigue for women. While suffering from bad breath, you may want to reach for the yogurt. A new study conducted by researchers in China suggests eating yogurt and other fermented foods could cure halitosis, or chronic bad breath. This is due to the probiotic bacteria in foods such as yogurt, sourdough bread, and miso soup. Usual options for fighting halitosis are chewing gum, using mouthwash, tongue scraping, and teeth scaling. About 1 in 5 U.S. adults suffer from a mental illness in any given year, and kids are suffering too. This summer, the White House called the rise in rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts among children an unprecedented mental health crisis. But despite a growing demand for mental health services, many are struggling to get an appointment. Mandy Gaither has tips from a licensed therapist on what to do if you cannot find a provider.
Across the U.S., demand for mental health treatment is growing.
People are struggling to figure out where to start. What kind of providers exist? What kind of services exist? And how do you go about finding one?
The Association of American Medical Colleges says there aren't nearly enough mental health providers to meet the demand of the nation's growing population. A 2018 analysis showed the workforce of psychiatrists was shrinking and could drop to a projected low of as many as 31,000 psychiatrists in just 2 years. So if you're struggling to get an appointment with a psychiatrist or psychologist, licensed therapist Jody Baumstein says don't limit your search.
Licensed clinical social workers, licensed professional counselors, licensed marriage and family therapists, all of whom can provide that same kind of treatment.
To find a potential therapist, Baumstein suggests pulling up online directories which list providers in your area. Some employers may offer free short-term mental health benefits. Check with private providers on whether they may have clinical interns that can help. If you're going through an insurance provider, go over options with them.
They might reimburse you for a portion of the cost to see an out-of-network provider.
Talk to your primary care provider too, or your child's pediatrician. Baumstein says they may have insight on clinicians in your community and can refer you. You can also talk to your child's school. There may be help available there. Finally, if you can't get an appointment right away, get on a waiting list.
Well, if you have to wait for an appointment, the therapist says to lean on people who care about you. Talk openly about what you're going through and practice relaxation techniques like meditation or exercise that will help you cope.
All right, we've got winter storm warnings for these counties that you see here in pink through midnight tomorrow, and a wind chill warning for all of us through 1 o'clock on Friday. We'll break down your full forecast when we come back. In Arizona, a fourth grade teacher in Scottsdale got an assist from her students in getting her master's degree. They helped her cap off her grad school journey at Arizona State. Nick Coletti explained.
Now I need a red.
Miss Field's class at Navajo Elementary in Scottsdale is full of artists.
It's amazing.
And it's a good thing these fourth graders have so much talent.
They understood the assignment.
Yes, they understood the assignment.
That assignment was something they've never been asked to do before. And it was all to help Miss Fields mark an important milestone.
Why did you want to get your master's?
I just thought that going back to school sets a good example both for myself and for others, as when you're an educator, you're not just educating others, but you're also educating yourselves. It's important not to stop learning.
But before Miss Fields walked across that stage, she had to finish one last assignment and enlisted the help of her students. I guess you could say the idea came off the top of her head.
I just said, hey, when you're finished with your warm-up in the morning, you can come write on this. It's going to go on my graduation cap if you want to write me a note or something. And then all of them did. So it turned out really nice and sweet, and they're cute.
Things like, I love you, Miss Fields. You're the best. Have a great time. All of it meaning so much to this first-year teacher and her students.
What was your reaction, Daniel, when she came in and said, I need you guys to write on my graduation cap?
Like, whoa.
It's a big deal, right?
I wrote my name and then good job because it's exciting to see it. She's like very kind. She helps you and she's confident.
What did you write on the hat?
I said my name and I said the best teacher ever.
The best teacher ever. So you really like Miss Fields?
Yeah.
How proud are you of Miss Fields?
Oh, I'm really proud. She went extra.
She did. This is a big accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
Getting her master's in education from ASU wasn't just her accomplishment. Miss Fields says her class played a big role on that special day.
It was pretty cool, like that we would be on it, so like because we couldn't go and we would be with her, like when she was graduating.
Was this sort of a way to have your kids with you on that special day?
For sure. Like teaching my first year and getting my master's all in this one chunk of time they are so much a part of my life that I wanted them to be there with me while I went on that stage and got my diploma.
A group of students so special, they'll always be in Miss Fields' heart. And in this case, her hat as well.
All right, we've got winter storm warnings for the counties in pink through midnight tomorrow. We've got, midnight Friday. We've got wind chill warnings for all of us through Friday at least 1 o'clock. And then we've got winter weather advisory, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through 6 tomorrow. And in southwest Missouri, they run until midnight. We're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow possible across the area, maybe some locally higher amounts. And then on top of that, we've got the winds to contend with. We're looking at wind gusts with this all pushing 40, 45 miles an hour, hovering in that same range as we go all through Thursday and into Friday. And that's going to put our wind chills dangerously cold back down to -20, upwards of -30 degrees. For this morning, we're dealing with some fog out there, so do be cautious if you are driving and this is your best day to travel. 28 in Joplin right now, feeling like 20 degrees. It's a little bit cold across the area as well. 24 Iola, 27 Pittsburgh, 28 Miami, 29 in Neosho, and 28 in Carthage. For today, again, your best travel day, 44 degrees, mostly cloudy. And then tonight, we hit a low of 32. Temperatures drop as we go through the day, and they'll do so rapidly. Light snow moving in by 2 a.m. and then the big event really gets going about 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we'll be here with you all morning long with the latest on the storm. We'll be back with more right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Private Leon Gann. Jay, Oklahoma native, served in England and in Belgium in 1944. To Private Leon Gann, we thank you, today's four-state hero.
Well, we've got a very interesting story about a woman who is knitting blankets for a special cause in memory of her son, who was battling cancer. We go to that story now.
I thought after he passed, what can I do? I don't want his memory forgotten.
Peter Stahovich was an athlete, a traveler, a fun-loving guy who may have fit more into 25 years than most people do in a lifetime.
He loved life. He was driven, he knew what he wanted, he knew where he wanted to go.
But in 2019, a cancerous brain tumor claimed Peter's young life. For Sandy, the grief was so overwhelming that she couldn't celebrate Christmas for a couple years. But then she got an idea.
And then I remember that blanket. And I go, there it is.
While Peter was being treated at Monticello's Cancer Center, someone gave him a blanket that he loved. So Sandy began making blankets of her own.
I can't think of anything else but the next stitch.
In 3 years, she's made 248 blankets that she donates to cancer patients. Each one includes her son's story. Sandy names every blanket she crochets and donates. The colors remind her of a memory of Peter. The names may be associated with a sports team he loved or a place he traveled.
The recipient would never really know the memory, but I know what it is.
There was a connection there, a mom and son connection that was very powerful.
Those who took care of Peter at the Cancer Center aren't surprised Sandy does what she does.
And I think something he did that was very important with his mom also was he gave meaning to the time he had left.
Sandy has received a number of thank you cards from patients, and if she sees them, she tells them to live by some of the last words Peter ever said.
Physical and speech therapy, he was able to say, don't give up hope.
It's really a powerful message and a powerful project that she's been working on.
I know, yeah. She's using her hands as a way of grieving. I can't imagine her pain going through losing her son. So,
What she's doing is helping bring a little joy to some other folks' lives as they battle cancer. Well, we've got another check of your forecast and that winter storm on its way when we come back. The winter blast arriving this week has all of us preparing. Noah Tucker reports on the problems farmers are dealing with while getting ready for these Arctic temperatures.
With winter weather threatening the Ozarks, preparations are being made by schools, road departments, and also farmers who are already combating shortages in hay and feed from drought earlier this summer.
This could be a possibility later this week, meaning some long days for these guys and the hens that tend to them.
I mean, they're talking about Friday morning the temperature being below zero with a strong wind. I mean, that's going to affect a lot of stuff. It has got a lot of folks worried right now.
Fred Wall has long tended to livestock, primarily horses, and he knows what's best for them.
Well, one of the big things about wintertime is you have to feed hay, because hay is what generates heat for a horse, for a goat, for a cow. Well, we've had a hay shortage this year, and there's a lot of folks that I know have reduced the number of cattle that they had because they didn't have enough hay.
While the shortage has been felt, it's only amplified during a time like this, which is being seen firsthand by local suppliers who are trying to keep up with demand.
It's been an increase for sure. People wanting hay, straw.
People definitely come in and definitely stock up on their feed and heat bulbs and tank heaters at this time.
Powell Feed and Milling has been operating out of Green Forest since 1942, and this is one of the toughest years in history.
We're running low on a few things, but we've got orders coming in daily, so I feel like we're going to be stocked up good.
Nobody wants to be underprepared in the case of severe weather, but some shortages can't be overcome.
It's going to have to be a management that we're going to have to do, and then the people that get out there. People get out there and try to take care of them. They're going to be cold too. So it's going to be, kind of bad.
Now, feed and grain stores say your best bet is to prepare as early as possible so they can get orders in if inventory isn't available. In terms of the snowfall, we are looking at anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. I think some of us could see potentially upwards of 5 inches. We're going to take a very in-depth look at this. All right, we're tracking this winter storm tomorrow. We have winter storm warnings for the counties in pink through midnight tomorrow. Everybody is under a wind chill warning until at least Friday at 1 o'clock. We have winter weather advisories, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through tomorrow at 6, and in southwest Missouri, they run until midnight. We're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4 inches, though we could see locally higher amounts, say upwards to the order of 4 to 5 inches in some locations, so do be prepared for that. We've got the wind, so let's talk about the aspects of this storm. The winds will be gusting 45 miles an hour tomorrow morning, and they're going to stay gusty through Thursday and into Friday. So with Thursday, we could see the blowing snow with near blizzard-like conditions, hence the winter storm warning. The wind chill warning is because of this. We could see wind chills back down -20, upwards of -30 degrees Thursday and Friday. Right now in Joplin, we got a little fog out there, 29 degrees. Light breeze making it feel like 22. Across the area, we've got a cold start for us, 24 Iola, 28 Chetopa, Miami, Carthage, and 27 as we start the day in Lamar. If you're traveling for the weekend, today really your best day to do it. So we're 44 and mostly cloudy. Tonight we drop to a low of 32. That's technically our high for Thursday. And then temperatures plummet through the morning. Light snow at 2 a.m. And then we could see we're going to start to really see the big show get going right around 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And it should last till about noon, 1 o'clock. Quick reminder, today is officially the first day of winter. It's the winter solstice, so the sun's going to be the furthest south on the horizon. Got our shortest amount of daylight today. And of course, in the southern hemisphere, it's the summer solstice, but it is going to feel a lot like winter as we head into tomorrow. We got alert days both days. We're going to be 32 to start again, then we'll drop down to -2. 10 on Friday, down to -1 for the low. Maybe a few light snow showers. And then Saturday, Christmas Eve, we're looking at 17, down to 5. 31 for Christmas Day. Mostly cloudy, down to 21. Maybe a wintry mix possible Monday. Otherwise, 35, cloudy, down to 18. And by Tuesday of next week, we're up to 40 degrees, partly cloudy. And a reminder of why not to travel tomorrow, obviously, because of the system itself. But Friday, with plow crews being short-staffed, they may not get to all the roads tomorrow. So Friday could be a dangerous day to travel as well. So get it done today. Let's look at your forecast. Here's Tanya with Consumer Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Twitter's CEO Elon Musk tweeted on Tuesday that he will step down as soon as he finds someone, quote, foolish enough to take the job. The purported announcement came after Musk hosted a poll on the social media platform in which more than 57% of users voted for him to leave the position. Musk also said he will run the software and servers teams after he steps down. Minnesota company 3M announces it will phase out the manufacturing of so-called forever chemicals and remove them from all products by 2025. The chemicals used in nonstick frying pans, cosmetics, and many other products can cause cancers, and other health problems. They're also bad for the environment because they do not degrade over time. And banking giant Wells Fargo has agreed to pay more than $3.5 billion to settle accusations that it charged its customers illegal fees and interest on auto loans and mortgages. The bank was also accused of incorrectly applying overdraft fees against savings and checking accounts. Settlement includes a record penalty of $1.7 billion. The other $2 billion is restitution to customers. We'll be right back. Early reports point to another hopeful year for threatened monarch butterflies in Northern California.
After nearing the brink of extinction in 2020, this marks the second year in a row that monarch butterfly numbers have improved. The winter count takes place in monarch hibernation groves along the California coast.
KPIX meteorologist Darren Peck visited the monarch butterfly sanctuary in Pacific Grove to get an early look at how the count is shaping up.
I've had them land on my hat. You're here long enough, you're going to see them. Ah, there she goes.
So you've had him land on you like that before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. He made that moment seem like no big deal. But Paul Mary knows better than just about anybody else. Having a monarch butterfly land on you has become an exceedingly rare privilege.
In 1997, when they first counted all the western monarchs, there were 1.2 million. In 2020, there were less than 2,000.
If you just do the math on the numbers Paul gave us, that is more than a 99% decline. And it had a lot of experts concerned that by 2021, the western monarch would be extinct.
Now, how do you go from 0 here in 2020 to 13,004 last year?
Please tell us.
Lots of whoopee.
That's one obvious part of it, but it's not the whole story. Turns out the last 2 years, the weather has been very favorable for these guys. Because of climate change now, it's either way too warm when they're not expecting it, or way too cold when they're not prepared for it. In addition to that, we've unwittingly destroyed most of their habitat.
They're sort of a poster child for everything that's going on in the insect world.
The bottom line on this is, if you can't find enough to eat, because the wildflowers you rely on are gone, because we've put so much other stuff there, you're not going to be able to survive the winter.
Paul, what do you think?
Anywhere.
What do you think did that one in?
Starvation.
Starvation.
That's
Here. The rumble from the people who are doing the counting is that the state numbers may be as high as 300,000, which would be a 50,000 plus improvement over last year. So another good year. But they're not out of the woods.
Hopefully those numbers continue to improve because monarch butterflies are very important, very beautiful butterflies too.
And like he says, there needs to be a lot of whoopee to make it happen.
That was the best line, I think, of the whole thing. Our numbers not improving as we head through the next 48 hours here. Actually, less time than that now. We're down to the last 24 hours or less here. We have winter storm warnings for the counties in pink. These run until Friday at midnight. Everybody under a wind chill warning through Friday at 1 o'clock. Winter weather advisory, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through Thursday at 6. And the ones in southwest Missouri run until tomorrow at midnight. Well, Friday at midnight. All right, we're looking at 2 to 4 inches of snow possible. Some of us could see a little bit more than that across the area. And we're also going to be dealing with winds. That's the reason for the winter storm warning and the wind chill warning is this reason right here. Wind gusts 40, 45 miles an hour. We're talking about blowing snow with near blizzard-like conditions, and we're talking about wind chills getting down to minus 20 to possibly even upwards of 30 below zero as we head through Thursday and into Friday, making it dangerously cold. So you need to be prepared now. If you're traveling for the holiday weekend, you need to go today. This is your last best travel day. Clouds starting to clear in Joplin, 29 degrees. We're feeling like 22. A little bit cold across the region. We've got 24 Iola, 27 Pittsburgh, Lamar, 28 Chetopa, Miami, and 29 in Neosho. As we go through today, we're heading for a high of 44 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies. That's why today is your best day to get out there and travel. Tonight, a low of 32. That's technically our high. Tomorrow, temperatures drop towards sunrise. Light snow getting in here by 2 a.m. The big show gets here between 5 and 6 a.m. and will last until about noon, 1 o'clock tomorrow. Alert days tomorrow and Friday for the winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, wind chill warnings, and with plow crews being short-staffed, they may not get all the roads cleared Thursday, which means Friday could be a dangerous day to drive as well. So just don't travel these 2 days. Then we get clear out a bit. 17 on Christmas Eve, 31 by Christmas Day, 35 next Monday, maybe a wintry mix possible, and up to 40 by next Tuesday with partly cloudy skies. We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will meet with President Biden and will deliver an address to Congress today. Zelensky was given a Ukrainian flag by troops during a visit to the front line on Tuesday and said he will give that to the U.S. Lawmakers in Washington who are working on a spending bill this week that includes $45 billion in aid to Ukraine. The House Ways and Means Committee will release 6 years of former President Trump's tax returns sometime this week. The panel received the documents after a years-long legal battle. The returns are from 2015 to 2020, which cover his time as a presidential candidate and commander-in-chief. Democrats sought the returns, saying they were needed to evaluate an IRS program that audits presidents. And the Biden administration is asking the Supreme Court to end Title 42, a pandemic-era policy that puts restrictions on migrants hoping to gain asylum in the U.S. The order was set to expire on Wednesday, but 19 Republican-led states joined a lawsuit to keep it in place. The White House has asked that if the court does let Title 42 expire, they wait until after Christmas.
All right, we got winter storm warnings, we've got winter weather advisories, we got wind chill warnings through tomorrow. For today, if you're traveling for the weekend, today's the day to do it. If you need to prep for the winter storm, today's the day to do it. We're 44 and mostly cloudy. Low tonight down to 32, and will be 32 to start Thursday very early. Temperatures will plummet. Light snow by 2 a.m. The heavier stuff gets in about 5, 6 a.m. Lasts till about noon, 1 o'clock tomorrow. Alert days on Thursday, Friday. Wind chills could be up to -30 Thursday and Friday, and then 17 Christmas Eve, 31 Christmas Day, 35 by next Monday, maybe a wintry mix, and then up to 40 by next Tuesday and partly cloudy.
Well, this next dog really is man's best friend, especially when it comes to yard work.
The footage published by police in Essex Junction, Vermont shows an adorable police dog messing around with a snow shovel last week.
The Essex Police Department joked that the dog, identified as K9 Nova, was excited to announce her new job with Public Works assisting with shoveling.
The National Weather Service said 1.7 inches of snow fell in nearby Essex Center on December 11th, far from the dog days of winter. I don't know if he's necessarily doing a very good job of it, but it's the thought that counts, right?
Yeah, I might keep an eye on that dog and the shovel, because you may not have a shovel to scoop snow after a while.
Yeah, I would agree on that. So, but hey, again, just try. Just try.
That reminds me, both my snow shovels broke last year.
You better get some new ones today.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Man.
Well, we'll have the latest on this winter storm today at noon, and of course, we'll be with you live tomorrow for the KOAM Morning News with live updates in the field as well as this storm moves on through the area. But for now, thanks for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather, as we mentioned, at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.